What's up, guys? Partywaffles here. I'm a 3000 rated Unholy deathknight, and I'm coming at you guys with a Unholy PvP guide for Shadowlands Season 1. Let's get into it. Okay, so to start off here, we're going to jump right into the talents, and I'm just going to review each talent for each row and tell you what's viable and what is not, based off what I've been, off speculation / what I've been playing, practicing, everything like that, right? So to start it off, the first row, Infected Claws, you pretty much just use that in PvE at the moment. It all will serve. You don't really use this. I haven't used this in any of the builds that I've been playing. Clawing Shadows, I use this mostly every single time at the moment. Level 25 talents we have Bursting Swords. Bursting Swords is good damage output. It's more consistent damage output, okay? So if you just want consistent damage overall, Bursting Swords is consistent. Even Fever, I haven't really played that at all in any builds. It could be good in RBGs or something if you just want to pad your damage. Unholy Blight, this is the most burst. The most burst on this talent row is Unholy Blight, because it increases your pet damage, and your pets do so much damage as it is. So much damage. So I like to play Unholy Blight at the moment. This row, obviously Asphyxiate, everything else is Garbo. This row, you don't want to play Pestilent Pustules. Harbinger of Doom is good. Especially, there's a conduit for Unholy that makes your Sudden Doom procs hit for 50% more damage. So if you have that too, this will be really good. Soul Reaper is also good. It's really good for PvE because in boss fights you can just spam it when they're below 35% HP. But it's also good for PvE, but I find it's not as good without Dressed, because when I was playing PvP with Soul Reaper, I had my Dressagath still. So what I would do, and I also had Reap because this was free patch. So what I would do back then was I would put the Soul Reaper, and then I would Reap Dressed at the last second the Soul Reaper was going to tick, so it would put them down really low, and then it would tick and kill them, and it was like almost a one-shot kill. But you can't do that now. So I kind of think Harbinger of Doom is good, and with the Conduit too. But you can still play this. I just find it's really hard to set it up now because people get healed so quick. Because it's the health is so slingshot, like up and down, up and down. It's hard to keep them in the range. This Death Pack is good for like duels or 2v2 situations if you're playing double DPS. Wraithwalk is good if you're getting kited versus like Resto Druids or something with a root. And Spell Eater is good versus casters. It's very good versus casters. Very, very good. Because it increases your AMS, of course. This talent row you want to play on Holy Pact because not only does it give you 5% strength, which is really good, so you use this before you're bursting. It also, the Hell Chains does so much damage in PvE and PvP. Like the chain that it creates in between your minion, it's really good. This talent row, I haven't really played too much Army of the Damned at 60. I've been playing on Holy Assault all the time, so I'm not sure personally how good this is at the moment. Maybe with the legendaries it would be good, but I'm going the Unholy Assault route myself. Or sorry, myself. Okay, so those are all the talent choices, alright? So the next thing we're going to talk about is so this is my spec, of course. This right here is the spec that I am playing, alright? I've been playing it, it's been doing very well. So if you want a safe spec, you can definitely go with this one. Another build would be to switch out the Unholy Blight into Bursting Swords and then throw like a Soul Reaper in there. But any of the talents I went over that are viable, you can use pretty much any combination of the viable ones, okay? Okay, I'm just going to quickly run through the PvP talents here too. So the talents that I've been using are Decomp Aura, Raise Abomination, of course, because it's broken, and Necrotic Aura. So I basically keep Raise Aura and Necrotic Aura most of the time, and the one that I change out the most is Decomp Aura. But I'll show you the ones that are Life and Death. I never really use this. Dark Sim. So, So I don't think Dark Sim has as much value right now as it did last season, because I find people aren't casting CC as much because the games are so fast paced, right? But we'll have to see what it's like in the actual arena. But if you want to use Dark Sim, you can just trade out Decomp Aura for Dark Sim a lot of the time. Necrotic Strike is terrible at the moment. This is a meme. Cavitous Pillar. You can play this against classes that have big hits. Like last season, you'd play it against Mage Lock for G-Pies and things like that. Like you can play that versus double casters if they have like greater pyros or chaos bolts, that kind of thing. It's really strong into that, and you can just get it dispelled. Necromancer's Bargain, like I haven't tried this at 60. I played it in pre-patch a lot, but you can pair it up with Army of the Damned and you can just have Maguses up all the time. They'll just be pumping. Transfusion is a defensive, so you don't have Lichborn any. Well, Lichborn is baseline now, so we always have it, but there was a defensive called Lichborn that made your IBF a 1-minute cooldown. We don't have that anymore. So if you need an extra defensive, besides Dome of Ancient Shadows, you can take Transfusion. Dome of Ancient Shadows, of course, increases the effectiveness of our anti-magic zone up to an 80% zone, so that's very good. So basically, this is, if I fight casters, this is what I'm playing usually. If I'm fighting melee, this is what I'm playing usually. And if I wanted to be full defensive against casters, I could do this, or something like that. But this, or this, you could play this into casters too, if you want to sim. But at the moment, I mostly have just been playing this, so. But first thing we're going to talk about now, after that, is just your normal, actually we'll talk about your burst rotation first. Okay, so this is your burst rotation in PvP. This is your max dam rotation, okay? So this is how you get all your pets out and everything. So say this is the target over here. This normal tank dummy is my target, okay? So on Unholy Blight, Abomination, and Dark Transformation, you want to use those 3 things as you're connecting to the target. Because you don't want to be already on the target and then you have to push all those things before you can do your other stuff, right? So this is the order that you want to do it, okay? When you're running over, you're going to Abomination at your target, and then you're going to Dark Transformation, and you're going to Unholy Blight after that. So you use those 3 things while you're running over. And then when you connect, there's 2 ways that you can connect. There's 2 ways you can do it. You can Festering Strike twice, so that you get your wounds up for your Apocalypse. So you can go Fester, get your runes for Apocalypse, then Apocalypse, and then Unholy Assault. But it's kind of wasting time on all your pets. So I'll show you the way that I like to burst, okay? So it goes Abomination, Dark Transformation, Unholy Blight, and then you get over there, Unholy Frenzy, Apocalypse, and then Abomination Limb. And then you just keep bursting your wounds, make sure you don't go over max wounds, don't go over max runic power. You want to use your Death Coil, and then burst your wounds. So that's your burst rotation, okay? Remember that? So it goes Abomination, Dark Transformation, Unholy Blight, then when you connect to them, Unholy Assault, Apocalypse. And then you can use your Necrolord ability too if you have that. Okay, now I'll show you how to do your normal. This is just your normal rotation, okay? So a couple things to know first. So Festering Strike applies 2 to 3 wounds. The wound cap that a target can have is 6. So if it applies 2 to 3, you don't want to press Festering Strike if they have over 3 wounds, okay? Because if they have over 3 wounds, like if they have 4 wounds and you push it and it applies 3, the cap is 6, right? So you're wasting one wound. So if they have 4 or more wounds on them currently, don't fester, okay? So if they do have wounds on the target, then what you want to do is Clawing Shadows, okay? So basically you just keep applying your wounds and you just keep breaking them with Clawing Shadows. And if your runic power gets close to cap, just dump a Death Coil, okay? Just keep going. Put more wounds, keep breaking them, dump with Death Coil, okay? Wounds, breaking, Death Coil. That's literally your rotation. The only other thing about your rotation is that you always want to keep your outbreak up, okay? So this is how you would start when you're just starting fighting something, okay? Not your burst rotation. This is just normal fighting, okay? So you want to open with outbreak, and then you want to fester, and then just do your rotation, you know? Just pop the wounds, dump the Death Coils, pop the wounds, dump the Death Coils, pop the wounds, dump the Death Coils. Yeah, and then your CDs are up, right? So you can just, if you don't have your whole CD train, that's fine. But say you don't have Unholy Blight, or say you don't have Abomination or something, it's whatever. So if you're just using Unholy Assault and Apocalypse, you want to proc your Dark Transformation before, and then Unholy Assault, Apocalypse, boom, just like that. Okay. The reason you want to proc your Dark Transformation before is because it gives you 5% more strength. So it's going to power up all your pets, it's going to power up your Unholy Assault damage, and it's going to power your Apocalypse damage. If the scenario is changed, say you're fighting this target now and you have your CDs up, and he already has 5 wounds, then you would Apocalypse first, and then Unholy Assault after. And just throw your Unholy Blight whenever you can. But yeah, so you guys know how to do the main big burst rotation already now. So your huge burst just goes Abomination, Dark Transformation, Unholy Blight, Unholy Assault, Apocalypse. And then your Covenant ability if you want. But yeah, so that's your normal rotation now. So, you know, just keep your dot up. Don't go over your wound cap. And don't go over your runic power cap. Those are some things to remember. And one other thing. So you have an ability called Epidemic, okay? So this is how you know when to use Epidemic over Death Coil. If you have your dot on 3 or more targets, then you Epidemic instead of Death Coil. If it's 1 to 2 targets, you Death Coil. Okay? So that's your burst rotation, that's your normal rotation. And there's one other thing, okay? Now this is another part of this is another rotation for Mythic Plus, okay? So what you're gonna do here in this is how you do huge damage in This is how you do huge damage in Mythic Plus, okay? It has to be a good group with a good healer and good tank or everything for this to work, but so say they pull a massive mob. So you have tons of mobs on you right now, pretend. So this is what you want to do, okay? All you want to do is just keep putting your wounds on every single target. First of all, make sure everything's dotted, right? And then you're spamming your Epidemic in between your abilities, right? Like when you have no runes to put your festers up, you're spamming Epidemic. But so you just keep dotting. Just keep putting wounds on every target in the mob that you pulled. Keep putting wounds till you have like a good chunk of wounds. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna Dark Transformation and make sure the health change is in between all the mobs. You're gonna Death and Decay. And then you're just going to keep spamming. Just keep spamming Scourge Strikes into the Death and Decay. And it's going to break the wounds on all of them. And when you, in between your runes, you're spamming Epidemic. And then you're just spamming. And you're going to do so much damage just from popping all the wounds on all the targets. And if you're PvEing, you're going to be using Bursting Swords. So all the wounds are going to be bursting as well. And that combination of like Death and Decay with all the wounds bursting is how Unholy DKs do the most damage in Mythic Plus. Like, that's how they did it in BFA too, like the biggest damage ever. Actually insane damage. Okay, so now that you know all those things, we're going to take a look at the legendaries real quick. Now I'm going to tell you which ones I'm going to use for PvE, or sorry, for PvP. So, my legendary choice for PvP is going to be probably Frenzied Monstrosity. The reason being, Dark Transformation increases the attack speed and damage of you and your monstrosity. So your monstrosity is this big guy right here. Okay? So he's going to be doing big damage and he's going to be attacking faster. And you're also going to be doing big damage and attacking faster. So it's just, and it's only a 1 minute cooldown, right? So every 1 minute you're just going to have an insane burst window. Plus you got all your other cooldowns too that are a minute and a half or so. So every other go is just going to be completely insane. The next thing that I potentially would pick is Pheromones. You and your minion gain 15% haste while you are inside your Death and Decay, and enemies damaged by your Death and Decay have a chance to cower in place for 3 seconds. So I am a Windwalker DK kind of player, you know what I mean? So the way that my comp works is we would grip the healer into a triple AoE stun, and so what I'm thinking is we grip triple AoE stun, we use Abomination Limb so they can't get out, and we use Pheromones. So we drop the Death and Decay while all our minions and all our damage is going. Everything gets 15% haste increase. All the minions get 15% haste increase, and the person is being cowering in place for 3 seconds. So the Windwalker's just cleaving, I'm cleaving. Even with Frost, like, I can't use this Frost actually, but yeah, like it just sounds like an insane combination. This is terrible. This is kind of terrible. Let's see. Apparently this is really good single target damage. Is what I'm told. So this one might be coming up on the horizon. Not sure. We'll have to see. This is terrible. This is really good if it's like a caster meta. Oh my god, this thing is gonna be so insane. Because AMS with Spell Eater is already so good versus casters. So I don't think they can get through that shield. We'll have to see though. This is terrible. Terrible. All the rest of these are terrible, so yeah, those are the ones that I would pick. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you want to catch me live on twitch.tv/PartyWafflesX, lots of arena gameplay there, everything like that. I stream a lot. And look forward to the Frost guide. It's going to be coming up next. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a good one.